Trash is a fact of life, but some residents in the North Valley of Albuquerque are pushing back against the city's plans to build a facility to process waste near Edith and Comanche. The city held meetings in recent months to hear concerns about potential environmental and health issues related to the proposed Edith Waste Transfer Station. Our producer Sarah Gustava sat down with David Wood, he's president of the Greater Gardner Neighborhood Association, and Michael Reardon, chief operating officer for the city of Albuquerque, to hear both sides of the debate over the proposed project.
Thank you both for being here. We have Michael Reardon from the city of Albuquerque. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Also, David Wood, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
David, you're a resident. You're also associated with the Neighborhood Association. Let's start with your concerns about this proposed facility. What are you hearing from your neighbors, and what questions do you have about this proposed waste transfer station?
Sure, and let me answer that in two ways. First of all, after 3 public meetings and extending over 8 hours, the city has politely listened to concerns of not only businesses but the community as well. And to date, we've seen no changes or eliminations from the overall project. So we're concerned that the city is just politely sitting back, listening to the concerns, and then are going to just do what the original feasibility study called for. Specific concerns, of course, are increased traffic to an overburdened neighborhood, of course decreased property values, traffic concerns at that very critical juncture of Edith and Griegos. We believe this is an overburdened area that has a disproportionate share of dirty industry. There is a cement transfer plant that requires oversight from the Air Quality Division. We have a hot asphalt plant that also requires oversight by the Air Quality Division. We have the city's partner in recycling, Friedman Recycling there. We have a chemical depository there, all within a quarter of a mile of this proposed unit. So we believe that it's just an overburdened area, and this is all about cost savings and not necessarily the impacts, whether it be health or economic, to the community at large.
Now tell me, are one of these facilities, asphalt, those different industries, are they on your block, or is this a few streets away from your house?
They're all within a quarter of a mile of the transfer station, 2 of them within less than a quarter mile of my residence.
Okay. Michael, where are we in the process right now? You're talking with people from the community, you're having public meetings. Where do things stand at the moment?
We just completed a public meeting here last week, and that would have been, so that was our April public meeting. The purpose of that one was to follow up with the neighborhoods on a meeting we had earlier in the year, coming up with concepts that they wanted to see in different designs. So the first meeting was to compile information on what are the concerns of the neighborhood, and what we heard was traffic, was possible noise, odor, what you'd expect when you're talking about a transfer station. But then there's a few other specific ones. There is a MRGC lateral that's nearby, some of the businesses that are nearby. So we took those and we came up with 4 different concepts of site plans that would be potential solutions to implementing this transfer station. And that was the purpose of this last public meeting, was to present those 4 options to the public and get feedback on those options.
David had mentioned just a moment ago that maybe some concerns that the city wouldn't actually take those and implement them, but you're saying you are going to take that feedback and put it into place, and people are going to see those changes in the plans.
Yes, we have a transfer station. We started with a feasibility study back in 2006 was our first one. The purpose of these transfer stations is to benefit the community, both for financial but also environmental reasons. By building a transfer station in the central location of our city, within a 1.5 to a 3-mile radius of the Big I, you're able to save about 2 million vehicle miles traveled every year. That's equivalent of saving 114,000 trees, a forest full of trees that we can save our community by reducing that much vehicle miles traveled in our region. So it's not only a financial reason, which it is a good one to our ratepayers of the solid waste department. It's a significant increase in financial stability, approximately $75 million to what would mean to the city. and also the environmental impacts of saving the vehicle miles traveled and the trees, as I mentioned, but also the reducing that impact on our landfill. Because by having a center where you can reduce the amount of recycling that doesn't happen, I kind of did a double negative there, but but you're able to separate more recyclable materials at this transfer station than even the public is putting in their own blue barrels at their home.
Now, trash, everyone's producing trash. It's everyone's problem in the city. Did the city consider putting it in another neighborhood, saying we need to share the burden here?
Yeah. So in the original feasibility study in 2006, that was to determine yes or no, does a city of our size need one? It was determined that a city of our size does need one. There are significant benefits for both, again, environmental and economical reasons. In 2011 and again in 2014, it was more of a feasibility of where should it be. And some of the criteria that went into that is, again, it had to be in the center of our city somewhere, within 1 mile to 3 miles of the Big I. You wanted to be in an industrial area, which this is, and you wanted to and you needed at least 12 and preferably 15 acres of a site in order to construct a facility of this size. So of that, we narrowed it down to about 5 sites that were available. Of those 5 sites, 2 had other uses. One was being an asphalt plant, as Mr. Wood mentioned. One was American Home Furnishings that was at one time might have gone out of business, but they stayed in business, thankfully, so we were able to use that site. So this site is the one that came out of it as the best one because it's an existing industrial zone site. It's an existing solid waste maintenance use. We already have all of our maintenance and our administrative offices on this site, so it already has 99% or 97% of the traffic that would go here is already there. And it had easy access to the interstate being on Comanche.
David, as a community member hearing that, do you think that there's a way that to build the transfer station there and have it be acceptable, or are you saying consider somewhere else? We just don't want this here.
Well, no neighborhood would voluntarily embrace a transfer station in its neighborhood. Neither would most of the businesses that surround the area. So we're pretty much resigned to the fact that if this project does move forward, and there are significant hurdles with respect to zoning and the issuing of a transfer station permit, there are still significant hurdles that might ultimately derail this project. Speaking for the community and a number of businesses, they're against it. They're against it for many reasons, but they would prefer, had they been brought into the process a little bit earlier, site selection might have been very well to the outskirts and let the city grow toward the transfer station rather than locating it right in the middle of the city.
Now, are you concerned about quality of life, air quality?
Well, of course we are. This might be a state-of-the-art facility, but when you consider the cumulative effect of all of the other industry in the area, it is clearly a problem with respect to health. Respiratory related illnesses will surely increase. So it's the health, and this is a poorer neighborhood that really does not have the ability in most cases to stand up to a project of this magnitude. So the neighborhood associations, Greater Gardner Neighborhood Association and the North Valley Coalition are trying to do our part to shine a light on this, to perhaps poke some holes in the overall project and the wisdom of the feasibility study.
Michael, there are lots of different ways to build these transfer stations, lots of things happening both in the United States and in other countries. So what can the city do to try to mitigate some of the impact, no matter where it is in the city?
One is we are going to continue to listen to the neighborhood. Again, it's in the industrial area, but we understand there are residences within a half a mile of here that we want to understand their concerns with traffic and some of these issues. So that's the first thing, and it's not just due diligence of having a public meeting because we say we're going to have a public meeting, but we're going through an extensive public campaign to get input into the project. With any project, there's always going to be people that are just no matter what. There's other people that are willing to listen and want to improve the project, and there's 2 other ones that are just for it. So we understand that, but we're out listening to people. So that's the first thing. Two, we've hired a consultant that has national experience in building transfer stations, along with a local team. We want to support local whenever we can. So we hired the local consultant, but they brought in a national expert who's built transfer stations in other communities, successful ones that are across the street from schools, ones where they were in neighborhoods where neighborhoods actually started building homes even closer to them. So we think with that expertise and the knowledge that we have from our local consultant, but with our national expert, that we're going to be able to build a center that's a top quality one for the country to come look at.
Last question for both of you. What's next?
Next is we've gotten the 4 design concepts that are out to the public. We're accepting public comment for a few more weeks through I think the middle of May, and then from then we'll come back with the preferred alternative based on the input that we've gotten, enhance that design a little bit, and by June we should be out having a next public meeting. End of June, having another public meeting with that preferred alternative that's showing a little bit more of the concepts and how it would work, to see if it meets with what the public comments that we've received so far.
And David?
We'll be anxiously awaiting the city to come to the community, the businesses, and the neighborhood saying, we've heard you, and this is the changes that we propose making to make this a more palatable project.
And we will be putting updates on this proposed project on our website, newmexicoinfocus.org. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
We're back at the table with this week's line panelists. Up next, our topic, the proposal to build an interim nuclear waste repository in southern New Mexico. Holtec International wants to build the facility, and Governor Martinez sent a letter to the administration last month in support of it, but the proposal faces a lot of opposition here in New Mexico, including from U.S. Senators Martin Heinrich and Tom Udall. And Eric, safety and management of the waste isolation plant, pilot plant looms large over this, certainly. But there's another question here amongst many. How do you get the stuff there? Who actually handles this? Do you know what I mean? We've had protests here in Albuquerque when WIPP first opened. There's only a couple of ways to get down to that part of the state, and folks that live along those routes are not too happy about this. What does this put New Mexico in?
Well, I think it speaks to, again, the lack of a real strategy for economic development. When our only strategy is we're going to take this very highly toxic, questionable and unsafe sort of industry and perpetuate it, as opposed to say, wait a minute, can't we come up with something better for jobs in the state than really taking the nation's, and it's not even for security purposes. Right. This is nuclear energy waste, most of which is being stored safely where it is until we find a long-term solution, which is what Senator Udall and Heinrich said. Look, as an interim solution, this doesn't make any sense. But the bigger question is, where are the big ideas for why is this the only big idea? Why is it an economic development issue? Right. As opposed to 100 other things we could be doing, as opposed to being, nuclear waste? Sure. Come to New Mexico, where you want to be. I'm afraid we're going to start running tourism or economic development ads to bring your nuclear waste here.
Right. That idea that we are the repository, a lot of folks do have heartburn with this. It is
I think it is a really worrisome situation. I think as well, there is an interesting element to this, which is that from what I've seen, the federal government is saying we actually don't have the ability to do this work ourselves, and so it's going out to private companies. And there's a private company that's looking to set up a similar facility in Texas. And my concern with this is that this may be an end run around regulations that really matter, and that would be important to us as New Mexicans to have those in place. The other thing, though, is no, we don't want to be, yes, we love our history. We take the history of White Sands very seriously, the Manhattan Project, et cetera. This is not that. This is something very different and not as lovely, not as historic, and something I don't think we want to be known for.
Phil Marquez, that word interim is interesting here. It really jumps out. It's not like baseball. We give an interim general manager or an interim, you know what I mean? Everyone knows. Sometimes interim means forever. Like once you start it and you put it in the ground,
it probably is.
No one's incentivized to move it at that point, it seems to me, right?
You don't just pick up nuclear waste to move it tomorrow.
They're saying 100 years.
Yeah,
Interim is 100 years.
I sort of look at this as on a favorable side, not a negative side. There's a lot of negatives you can look at. I just don't want to get caught up in the silver minnow thing. All of a sudden we got some gray wolf out there that we didn't know about. Thought it was extinct. Now we found it, so we can't do that. So we start getting caught up in all this minutia. I don't even want it to be a political issue. And I sometimes think I'm concerned that it is. When you got Eddy and Lee County putting together and saying, we need the economic development. Look, New Mexico has not tons of economy going. I mean, positive jobs. And in those particular areas, it's important. You got an area that's dry. You got an area that has no flyover. You've got possibilities to put something that will put people to work. If you were from those areas and your unemployment rate's high and you have people looking for work, you're going to be looking seriously at something. Now, Texas will take it, and I guarantee you Texas will put it there quickly. Nevada's looking at it as well. Why not New Mexico? I think that's the question we have to ask.
That's fair enough. Mary, what do you think of that?
I've got to say I'm with Phil on this one. The localities want it. You know, neither of our senators are from southeastern New Mexico. They probably don't get a lot of votes in southeastern New Mexico. So I think the folks who are willing to take this on should be listened to. And Phil's right, it's a reality. Extractive industries, nuclear, this is something we do. This drives jobs. This is New Mexico, and I don't know why we would shy away against it. I think we would have all loved it if Tesla came here, and there are many reasons they didn't. And I do agree, though, with Eric's comment about economic development. For years, we have not done what it takes to attract business here. Our regulatory climate is terrible. We do not do anything, what just happened with Lyft. You know, we do nothing to support new or innovative businesses. So we have to fall back on some of these industries just to keep things going.
What do you think of that, Eric? Not to hopscotch you on the table, what do you think of that, what do you think of that? But that's an interesting argument, though, too. I hear your point. And it's easy for us to sit up here and say, well, it's only 150 jobs, it's this or that, the other thing. But they own the land, they've made an agreement between those counties, the city managers want it. It's not as if this Holtec is trying to shove something down their throats. They're being pulled in. Does that make a difference in your mind?
Well, I think it's a choice, right? I mean, you could make the same argument about the low-wage jobs. When I was working for economic development, these communities were so starved for jobs that they would take anything. We took call centers that were paid $7.50 an hour. So the argument that because our economy is so bad, we should take anything, I think that's not a sustainable argument and actually perpetuates. Now, whether or not you agree with LES, that's a very different facility. There is a lot of economic development going down there, whether you agree that we should have uranium enrichment and growing the nuclear energy industry or not. That, at least, that's very different than us saying the best we can do as a state is to say we're gonna take those bottom feeder. This really is a bottom feeder industry. This is basically saying this is toxic, a huge public safety issue. In fact, Nevada's not interested. That's the whole reason why they're doing it. That was a non-starter for Democrats and Republicans in Nevada. The whole reason why it's not, Yucca Mountain was a non-starter. So we are the only place. And I don't like to compare ourselves to Texas because Texas has worse child well-being than we do on every other measure other than that they'll take any jobs, any industry, anything you can do, no regulations. If that's really what we want to be as a state, I think I just have a different view.
What, in your mind, we just got a few seconds left here, under 30, more creative ways to do economic development, not saying, A, B, C, D, but is there any categories that come to mind for you?
Well, those two counties have some of the highest number of years of sun a year of year. So what about massive investments in solar energy there? And talking to Udall and Heinrich about, well, how are you going to, if you want us to not do this, how are we going to get some more solar facilities, some concentrated solar facilities? We already made a massive investment in the spaceport, which I think may or may not pay off. So it's not like we're not trying things. There are other ideas. Taking nuclear waste, I think, is a terrible idea.
Interesting. Up next, some local teachers tell us what they think about teacher evaluations here in New Mexico.